The 75th anniversary of the United Nations falls in the middle of a global pandemic. Our founding mission is more critical than ever. On this anniversary, I ask people everywhere to join together. The United Nations not only stands with you. The United Nations belongs to you and is you, we the peoples. UN History. The Charter was signed on 26 June 1945 by the representatives of the 50 countries. Poland, which was not represented at the conference, signed it later and became one of the original 51 member states. The UN officially came into existence on 24 October 1945 when Charter had been ratified by China, France, the Soviet Union, the UK, the US, and by majority of other signatories. The name United Nations was coined by US President Franklin D. Roosevelt and first used in the Declaration by United Nations of 1 January 1942 during World War II. Declaration on the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. We, the heads of states and government representing the peoples of the world, have gathered on 21 September 2020 at the high-level meeting of General Assembly to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. We do so with a sense of awe and deep respect for the founders who created this organization. No other global organization gives hope to the many people for a better world and can deliver the future we want. Born out of the horrors of the Second World War, the United Nations, as a common endeavor for humanity, was established to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. The achievements are many, and we owe the United Nations and its personnel much gratitude and respect over the years. More than 1 million women and men have served under the United Nations flag in more than 70 peacekeeping operations. UN also shares its moments of disappointment. Our world is not yet the world that our founders envisaged 75 years ago. It's plagued by growing inequality, poverty, hunger, armed conflicts, terrorism, insecurity, climate change, and pandemic. Strengthening international cooperation is in the interest of both nations and people. The three pillars of UN, peacekeeping and security, development, and human rights, are equally important, interrelated, and interdependent. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is our roadmap, and its implementation a necessity for our survival. Urgent efforts are required, therefore, we are not here to celebrate, we are here to take actions. We will leave no one behind. Humanitarian access to those in need of assistance must be granted without obstacle or delay and in line with the humanitarian principles. We are guided by the Universal Declaration of Human and International Human Rights Treaties and instrument and will ensure the human rights and fundamental freedom of everyone. We will protect our planet. Without more determined action, we will continue to impoverish our planet with less biodiversity and fewer natural resources. We will see more environmental threats and climate related challenges, including natural disasters, drought, desertification, food shortages, water scarcity, wildfires, sea level rise, and depletion of the oceans. The time to act is now. We have a historic opportunity to build back better and greener, to protect nature from devastating changings. We will promote peace and prevent conflicts. The ongoing armed conflicts and threats against international peace and security must be urgently resolved through peaceful means. The United Nations must be better address all domains of threats, terrorism, and violent extremism. Conducive to terrorism are serious threats to international peace and security. We will place women and girls at the center. Conflicts will not be resolved and sustainable development not occur without the equal and active participation of women at all levels. We will accelerate action to achieve gender equality, women's participation, and the empowerment of women and girls in all domains. We will build trust. Growing inequality within and among countries is jeopardizing our efforts to ensure the future we want. We will address the root cause of inequalities, including violence, human rights abuses, corruption, marginalization, discrimination in all its forms, poverty and exclusion, as well as lack of education and employment. We will improve digital cooperation. Digital technologies have a potential to accelerate the realization of the 2030 agenda. We must ensure safe and affordable digital access for all. We will upgrade the United Nations. The world of today is very different from what it was when the United Nations was created 75 years ago. There are more countries, more people, more challenges, but also more solutions. Our working methods need to keep pace and adapt. We will ensure sustainable financing. Realizing our aspiration will require sustainable and predictable funding of the organization. We will pay our assessed contribution in full and on time. Measures to better ensure this should be explored. We will boost partnership. We have to make the UN more inclusive and engage with all relevant stakeholders, including regional and sub regional organizations, non government organizations, civil society, the private sector, academia, and parliamentarians to ensure an effective response to our common challenges. We will listen to and work with youth. Youth is the missing part of peace and development. For too long, the voices of youth have been silenced in discussion about their future. This has to change now through meaningful engagement with youth. We will be prepared. The COVID 19 pandemic caught us off guard. It has served as a wake up call for improving and preparedness for not only health related crises but also other challenges and crises. We need to strengthen international cooperation, coordination, and solidarity.